we could be able to count on you to do the job that we know you can do.
I understand.
You got to get this under control. Quick, or else corporate won't be happy. I won't be able to stop them from taking the next steps.
All right, how you guys doing? I'm Tiara. This is Tiara to you, and thank you so much for joining us for today's interview. We've got the talented man of many hats, Vincent Rutley. How you doing today, Vincent?
Lady T.
Ah,
Lady T. I'm
thank
doing
you.
good. I'm grateful to be on with you tonight. Thank you for having me. I'm looking
Okay,
forward to it.
I really appreciate that. We know that your schedule is full. You stay booked and busy. Thank you, Jesus. And
God is so good.
to be able to come in and to share your word with us today, it's on time, and we thank you again for that. So I want to introduce the listeners and the viewers to you. I'm gonna let you tell them a little bit about yourself, but I want them to know that you've been a big blessing in my life. Um, your story, your resilience, your steadfastness has been something that I've been able to really look at and say, you know what? If this brother can do it, I know that I can do it too. And that's really
Amen.
why I asked you to come on, because you touched me personally with your story. And I really, really wanted to share that. For those that don't know, Vincent is an actor, uh, singer, he's a playwright, producer. He is into the film industry.
Yeah.
He has also won many awards. He's also known as a husband, a brother. Are you a father?
Not yet.
Not
God
yet.
is
Not yet.
God is
Okay. Well,
God
we're
is
gonna put
creating
that.
that.
Yeah, we're gonna put that on out there. And with that, I just want to ask you a few questions just about your craft, just to kind of break the ice and get it started. Thinking about
Absolutely.
all of these things in the arts, right? We put it all together, and this is a ministry of arts in so many different facets. And that's kind of where me and you met in that lane and where we connected. So I just wanted to let people kind of get a little backstory, not yet a backstory about you, but just to kind of break the ice and know who you are. So tell me, who's your favorite actor?
Oh man. I used to have Denzel Washington for the longest was my favorite actor.
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with
Um Denzel's amazing, but I've come to the realization that Denzel is not really versatile.
that. Okay,
Denzel is Denzel.
he's Denzel
It don't matter what movie, but that's the beautiful thing about him. He's not hired to become something. He's hired because they love him.
to be him.
One thing I learned about Denzel is that, and I look at it the same way. Every time I get casted for a role, I'm not being, I'm not becoming somebody else. I'm becoming a different version of myself,
Yeah, I like
and
that.
I'm placing myself in different situations and scenarios. And that's all Denzel does. And that's why he's always been probably the number one. The most versatile actor is Samuel L. Jackson. He got a crazy mouth, but I love Samuel L. Jackson's delivery. I love the way he chooses to play his roles. This dude has been in Star Wars. This dude has been in everything. He's the greatest. His list of roles are probably the most versatile of what I've seen.
Yeah,
And he started his acting career around 39, 40.
I know.
And that
Yeah,
was a beautiful thing about his story. So I think those two are just like, for different reasons, are has always been at the top of my list of people that I can look at and say I appreciate. Don't I don't aspire to be anyone but myself, but I appreciate the craft and how they chose to walk the journey. If that makes any sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Two funny things about, well, one fun fact and then something funny about both of those actors. Denzel Washington, I once heard somebody say, it's not that Denzel Washington, all the women swoon over Denzel. And and I heard somebody say, it's not that Denzel is so handsome, it's that he acts So handsome.
He's so confident. He's so confident. He's so poised. No matter what the situation is, Denzel. Don't get me wrong. He is versatile, but he's
Uh-huh.
not as versatile as we may have assumed.
Right.
Um, there's only certain roles that he's like going after,
Yeah.
and he kills them all.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, you if you call Denzel, you're gonna get Denzel.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Yeah,
Samuel L. Jackson, I'm not sure how true it is, but I just recently learned that he's related to the Jacksons. So yeah, that's something that I just seen maybe about 6 months ago on social media. So
okay,
do a little bit more research, but it's worth checking out. Yeah.
it
So let's
is.
go to the comedian side. Who would you consider like one of the funniest comedians out there right now?
Sinbad has always been
Okay. Okay. Throwback.
my favorite. Sinbad just makes up stuff on the
Yeah.
whim.
Okay.
He's a clean comedian. I love that. He doesn't curse or talk vulgar, which is where I come from, but the
Yeah.
cleaner comedy side. So I can appreciate that about him. I don't think many comedians have the gift of being able to flow without getting potty mouth and getting real weird with the content just because weird stuff, people enjoy that stuff. People
Yeah.
enjoy sexual content, but Sinbad is like he's an artist in the fact that he can make you laugh and just create stuff. He's talking to the audience, and I like it because he doesn't pick on the audience like to embarrass anybody, but
Yeah.
he brings like just really familiar common things that everybody can talk about and just makes a joke out of anything.
I
Sinbad, and then there's on the other side, Mike Epps is hilarious to me.
I hear a lot of people say they really like Mike Epps.
Mike Epps is not a he's not what you would call an industry comedian.
Okay. It's kind of
He
like the
remi- he
cousins guy that you went to
he,
school
re- he
with.
remind me of the cousin at the crib, and he cracking jokes, and he in the
Yeah.
living room, and he going crazy, but it's funny. And a
Yeah.
lot of comedians don't know how to use their natural ability, their natural gift.
Right.
They feel like, oh, I gotta write jokes now, or I gotta create these stories and stuff like that. Mike Epps is just like, man, I got a cousin that bow leg and pigeon toed at the same time. And the
Yeah.
dude walk like this. And he just do the walk and everybody like, and he's
Relate.
physical. So I appreciate his style of comedy as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's also a pretty good actor, you
Mike
know.
Epps is good.
He's pretty
Yeah. And he's had some testimonies, some interviews come out lately that he said he was actually like on drugs when he did some of those roles.
good. I heard that.
Yep. So he was like, I was on crack when I did all about the Benjamins and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
It
In the
is.
industry, they don't care about a lot of that stuff. The industry is like, who's going to make us the money? Who's going to make the laughs? Who's going to sell the tickets? Like, they're not looking into protecting your character and helping you develop as a professional seasoned actor. If
Right.
you're a funny guy just today, we're going to make you a star today,
Right.
and then somebody else will come along tomorrow. So
Yeah.
that's one of the tough
Your
things about the
product.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You put your product. So speaking of that, when you think about the gift that you have of art and the purpose that comes with that. How old was you when you realized that this is something that you wanted to do?
13,
Oh, really?
about 12 or 13. My oldest brother, shout out to Ryan. Ryan Rutley is the goofball of the family. He's the one that's like, he's the Mike Epps of the family.
Okay.
When a party happened, he's just jumping on everybody and hugging on everybody, and he's loud and his energy is just infectious. But Ryan was in some local theater back home in Pontiac, Michigan, and my parents had found some local theater companies because he was doing it like in junior high and church skits and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
when I saw him in a local theater where they're like selling tickets, and there was this big audience of people that we didn't know. It wasn't family and friends anymore. Like
Right.
now, he's a performer and he delivered. Like it was, I think he was like the only kid in this production called the Quilted Giraffe. I, I have no idea what it was about, but I remember sitting in the audience and I'm like, looking at the reaction of the people
Mm,
and seeing the live theater performance, and it made me feel something. Live theater is my foundation. It just makes you feel something. You're in the room, right? So it's like it takes a very focused and a natural gift to be able to perform live in front of people. To be able to mask your nerves.
yes.
And to see him on stage, I think I was about 12 or 13. He was about 16 or so, maybe 15. I don't think he's in high school yet. But I saw him perform, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's I want to do that right there. I want to make people feel something. I want to make people laugh. I want to make people feel emotional, and I want to be able to do it without, you know, all these trinkets and edits and stuff. I want to be able to just get on stage and make people feel some kind of way. And I was about 12 or 13. I had to be in junior high, so maybe it was 11 or 12. But I remember sitting in that audience, and I said, "This is what I want to do. I can do it, and I want to do it." And from that moment,
So
I
you would
jumped in.
say
I
that
took
that
off.
moment spoke to you and that experience
Yep.
spoke to you. So that
Yep.
would it be fair to say that was the very first play that you ever saw?
Probably outside of church,
Okay.
more for professional, right? Because it was a local theater, but it was produced well.
Hmm.
They had singing in there. They had just the drama. They had some dance. It was like it was like the most artsy thing. It was almost like a small Broadway production.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, all this is it. Y'all singing and y'all the acting chops are good. And I was like, I can do that.
Hmm.
I can do that. And at that time, uh, Lady T, my parents didn't have connections, understanding of what the industry was about. And I'm glad, I'm grateful that they didn't. I'm grateful that it wasn't more of like me doing commercials, like a child actor, and then hopping in and being on sets. I wasn't ready for that stuff,
Hmm.
especially now that I know what I know.
Hmm.
The live theater was the best teacher. It was very humbling to watch how competitive it was and how I had to stand before people in audition and read and learn lines off the rip. So Detroit theater trained me.
Yeah.
It trained me as an actor. There are things about it I'll never forget and I'll carry with me, and no matter where I go. So I'm
Yeah.
grateful for that foundation. And
Yeah.
shout out to bro. Shout out to big bro. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you would be surprised how many people that I speak to that their stories are similar. It's a sibling or someone in their family that did the exact same thing. And they'll say, you know what? They were the comedian in the family. Like they were the one who
Yep.
we thought was gonna, go in that direction. But it's amazing how God can use those people around us to plant a seed or to ignite something that He has
Yeah.
created inside of us. So
Absolutely.
once you get bit by the bug, as they say.
Yep. You got it.
What was your process? What did it look like? Was it something that you just the next day you said, Mama, I want to, get in a play, or I want to, you start seeking things out. What did that look like for you?
I immediately started to look for opportunities. Um, the local theater only did so many shows, and for whatever reason, you would think that I would have just jumped in with that theater company or that theater group,
Yeah.
but I think I was still playing football at the time. I was a beast. I
Okay.
was a beast.
Okay. Okay.
So I was still trying to balance the arts and sports. I got four brothers. There's five Rutley brothers. We all played football. We all did music, and at the time, we also had um, Connection, the Rutley Brothers gospel singing group,
Okay.
harmonizing. And so I was still young, and my parents still wanted me to be a kid, but they began to create opportunities for me to stretch that muscle, to work that gift. So I started off really just doing little shows. My junior high didn't do plays like that. There might have been one, but I really got to stretch my gift in the church productions. And I know that's a little cliche, but it looked so much different for me than most because I got an opportunity to write, direct, produce, and I learned a lot from that. So instead of me just jumping into an industry style way of doing things, my parents created the opportunity for the church drama ministry to be a catalyst that gave me the experience, the understanding on how to piece things together. At that time, I was working with no professionals, all church actors.
Yeah.
So that was humbling to be able to grab a hold of all those people that just desire to be a part of something fun, and have to direct people from that perspective, that were just giving up their time, that were just volunteers, they were churchgoers. So I had to be real cautious with how I handled my brothers and sisters. And from there, by the time I got to high school, it was 10th grade. This was the shift. This was the shift. 10th grade, I got back from summer, and all my football playing buddies and brothers were bigger, faster, and stronger. And I felt like I was stuck at
Yeah.
this little size. I was a little fella in high school, and football wasn't as fun as it was for me at that age as it was in high school. Um, I wasn't scared of the competition, but we had a very strict program. The coach was like, y'all can't work no jobs, y'all can't do drama, y'all can't do none of this other stuff. Y'all got to come do 3 days, play football, and eat, drink, do sports. And I asked myself at 15, can I see myself doing this for the rest of my life?
Yeah. That's the question.
Or is it time for me to start focusing on just getting on stage?
Yeah.
Junior high didn't do shows, high school did. They had a yearly show of The Wiz that the city came out to see, and my older brother played in The Wiz as well. He was
Yeah.
the Tin Man, and then my second oldest brother Derek played The Wiz one year. And I'm watching these boys go crazy on stage, and I'm like, "Ooh, when I get to high school, they ain't gonna know. They ain't go." So that was one of the shows that was like, okay, I can just go off and do this acting thing. I can start working that gift. The opportunities are here, and I also can work a job. I also can do other projects and programs. So if I'm acting, I'm more free
Yeah.
to act and do other things. If I'm doing football, I'm limited.
Yeah.
And at this age and at this size, I might not really play. I gotta fight for a role, put my body on the line. I have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
At 15 years old, coming back off that summer, I said I'm not gonna go to the NFL. I'm not gonna go Division 1 football, but I can become a professional actor. I can learn how to write and direct and produce. And that was my choice.
Yeah.
That was my choice. 10th grade, I let football go, and I went full into acting. I got my first little job. So I was just doing drama club, then I leave drama club and go to work. And that was my new focus. And I'm so glad I did. And of course, still the church productions continue to grow. They went from smaller productions to all out Easter productions, all out Christmas productions. And then it was like, why don't I just start writing just real true stories, like good stories, and start doing productions during the summertime? So by the time I was 16, my parents gave me the keys. My father, Pastor Bishop Rutley, shout out to mom and dad, senior pastors of Berea Family Tabernacle of Faith, plug, Pontiac, Michigan. I got 16, and they were like, "You got it."
That's
And
all.
I took over the drama club at the church, and I became the drama leader, directed, produced, wrote. And once again, that part of the process was so valuable for me.
Mhm.
Um, Being able to know how to properly handle people, how to talk to people. It wasn't like that in other places I went. The directors were sticklers. They were
Yeah.
um, tyrants. They were loud. They were very in your face, and to some extent, a little bit overbearing. And it was like, that's not necessary.
Yeah.
So I learned from the opportunities that were given, but I also learned what not to do based off of what I had seen and experienced myself.
That's
And but 15 was the shift. Yeah, I said football ain't gonna do it. No,
Yeah.
I ain't.
Yeah, one calling was calling just a little louder than the other, it sounds like, and when that thing is growing inside of it, yeah, you can't get away from it, even if you tried. I heard you say your brother played the Tin Man. It's funny because the church productions that we've had and that I have produced, we did The Wiz, and what we did is we did a Christian adaptation of it.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Oh
And
yeah, I was cutting up.
I
What you play?
I played the Tin Woman. Yeah, and we had a really, really good time. So
I love it.
yeah, some of that is actually on YouTube. I have to send you a clip.
Please,
Yeah.
please. I love that.
So it sounds like your parents was really a big support system for you. And I
Yeah.
think that's really important for children because the scripture that speaks about training up a child in the way that they should go, a lot of times we look at that just face value, right? Give them the word, give them God.
Yeah.
But, or however, another part, a component of that is seeing what their natural bent is in the way that they should go. What did God create them for?
Right.
And what does He want them to do? Because that purpose is that direct connection to Him, right? So if you take away that drive of what a child has in them to do, a lot of times you lose that connection with them.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times as a parent, we do get busy and or we put our own will and desire on our children and it we miss it. And just listen to how your parents saw that and they listened to you and they began to open up opportunities and speak to the pastor. Now did the pastor then begin to allow you to start creating your own plays? Is that what I heard you say?
Well, the pastors were my parents.
Oh, you did
So
say that. Okay, well
my
you had it
my
made in the state. Okay.
I so
Okay,
I
you
went.
had, oh wow.
I had it. And some people can grow up saying, "Oh, PKs are spoiled," or that. It wasn't like that at all. My parents never put us in position that we weren't ready for.
Yeah.
They never gave us something that we couldn't manage. But because we grew up in the church, we understood a lot. We had a chance to work from a different angles, and I was a musician. I was on the praise team as well. I ended up running the band and the praise team at the same time, and started up on the cameras. So it was a lot of different positions that I had the chance to work from that made me appreciate the gifts. And just like in the Word of God, where it says, you had the one with the one gift, the guy with 5 gifts, and the guy with 10. When you learn how to honor God through the gifts that you're given, not only does God help you to perfect those gifts, but those gifts grow into other gifts. I was
Absolutely.
just an actor at first. I just wanted to act. I just wanted to be up there doing roles. But my mind didn't allow me to stay there. And then I started trying directing. Then I started trying to produce and I started trying to write. And all those other things became gifts as well.
Yeah.
Just like the one, I think he had 5 gifts and he put those gifts to work. God honored him and doubled his gifts. I feel like God did the
Yeah.
same thing with me. And I wasn't willing to bury the acting gift just because I was young or nervous.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, we see the gift. You can write, you can produce. I was like, let's go. And yeah, the door opened. I was able to cast all the productions and moving people around, and nobody told me no. I was like, sister such and such, you can play the lunch lady. You'll be good. She like, oh my God, nephew. All right, I'll do it for you. And I mean, we just had a good time. And I prided myself in creating realistic productions that weren't just illustrated sermons. I
Yes.
didn't just want people sitting around, oh, look at such and such, that's cute. No, I wanted real stories, real compelling stories. And that's when my calling started. It was like, you're not going to just be creating projects and stories and scripts that people can just enjoy for entertainment purposes only. I understand that a part of it is entertainment, but I want them to walk away with something.
Absolutely.
I want them to leave ministered to, or at least with them thinking about something like, that girl that was getting cheated on in that play remind me of
Right.
the last relationship I was in. But at the same time, I didn't want everything to feel cliche. So I wasn't doing the church plays where a pastor cheated on his wife and no, we good with that. We
Right.
understand, we understand that that's some people's reality, unfortunately. But I wanted to create the stories that showed a Christian perspective when they went home.
Right.
What
Real
did
life.
it look like when you left the church house and you didn't have praise and worship to make you feel emotional, and you didn't have the word of God to remind you of how good he is and how sovereign he is? What are you doing in your dark places? What are you doing when you leave church and the only person in your family that is saved is you? And
Absolutely.
you got to be the one to fight through the principalities in your own home. And, I was blessed to hear from the pastor at church and then hear from the pastor at home as well.
Yeah.
So I really had no excuse. And the more I realized that I was blessed to have mom and dad in the house, parents that are saved, parents that are on one accord, the more I realized that it was rare.
Yeah.
And I wanted to write for the other people that didn't have what I had.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of those stories started to come from.
Just giving a different perspective. And I do know that that's one thing that we do also have in common in that desire to want to tell those stories that are just real life,
Yeah,
right? But also do it in the way that when the story's been told, the viewer or the listener is able to sit back and say, wow, that was a message, and not maybe necessarily being preached at or it being shoved down your throat, but just real life
absolutely.
because that's how God deals with us and He meets us right where we are. You know, so
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that. So in that place, I know you probably saw yourself uh, with this future, right? With the future that you had already began to develop on the inside of you, um, and things begin to change within the years. Well, upcoming the next few years. Tell us a little bit about your testimony and how that segued into um, the near future.
Absolutely. After graduating high school, I had already had a few years under my belt doing the church production stuff. That's when I was like, it's time to get into urban theater. It's time to learn the industry standard. Not that I wanted to be a part of the industry, but I
Right?
needed to understand the excellence that came with industry
Yes,
so that I can create kingdom projects that didn't lack quality. That was
absolutely.
my biggest thing. So I wanted to just go to school for theater. I tried to go. I went to Wayne State for one semester,
Okay.
and then I got casted in a production with a very, very prominent producer out there in Detroit. And that's when the got bit by the bug all over again. Like, this is the lane I need to go to. I don't want to be doing Shakespeare. I want to be doing black theater.
Yeah.
And I sometimes I look back and I do wish that I was stuck with school because that could have pushed me in the lane of Broadway. Um, but I'm also super grateful that I went the way I did because God controlled the narrative and not
Absolutely.
the theater program. So I learned more. I left school, got out there, and I started producing. I was acting. I probably acted in maybe 20 to 30 productions from other writers, producers. It got to the point to where I wasn't auditioning anymore. People were just calling me saying, "I saw you in such and such play. I got a role for you," and it
Oh,
was just going, 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 going. And then I started hosting. Then I started doing stand-up comedy, and then from there, I started my own gospel improv show called Gospel Zone, and that was a special season. It was basically like Wildin' Out, Nick Cannon's Wildin' Out,
wow.
way before Wildin' Out,
Okay.
but all gospel music, all gospel jokes, all gospel songs. This was a variety show, and I was bringing in comedians and dancers and actors from Detroit.
Man,
It was
I wish I
that
knew
was
about that.
it was a special. It was
I'd have
special.
probably
I was just
part
I
of
was
that.
just talking about I was just talking to my brother about it tonight, and he was like, "Man, people be talking about gospel song." I'm just like, "Man, that's crazy." So who knows? It might be a reboot one day. I know the industry now, as competitive as they are. They not only, you got that side of some people that are like, "Oh, that's been done already. We're not doing it." But then some people are like, "It's been done already and it works." So if you do your Christian version, the only thing that messes with my mind at some points, pray for me, sis, is I don't want people looking at me like, "Oh, he's the ripoff of Wild 'N Out." And even though I was doing it way before Wild 'N Out, the industry don't know that,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. I don't know. It might be a spinoff at one point,
Yeah,
but
that's not even a factor.
I know.
Yeah.
I know it. I'm the more I talk about it, the more I'm like,
No, I
dude,
understand
get rid
because
of that.
I've dealt with and sometimes do deal with that exact same thing. Even being in this lane, and doing the social media thing. I mean, it's so saturated. When God dropped it in my spirit to do it, it was almost 10 years ago, and I struggle with it. Because I love the theater as well. I love the film part. The thing about the theater is you don't see the audience, and you're up there. You're
No,
up
not really.
stage,
No.
and it's almost like a world of its own that has been created. This make believe world, you and your cast members, you're doing your thing. And even though you've got a whole audience in front of you, they can see you, but you really can't see them. It really is this world of imagination that anybody that is arty or artsy, we have these imaginations and with creativities even since we were children, right? And we get to live
Absolutely.
that out. You get to live that out in real time when it comes to things like theater and film. But social media is just a different animal. It's like, just come and sit on with a camera looking right at you and talk. Some people run out here, they think, hey, this is a great opportunity, and I'm not saying that it's not, but
Yeah. I got a love-hate relationship with
yes,
social
I
media.
think the exact same thing. I
I see God can use it for great things, but I also see how the world use it, and it's like I don't want to post for y'all.
Yeah,
I don't.
yes,
But there are, when you're called as a creative, there's a responsibility to learn certain things just for the sake of this is the lane that God can use. So
right. And,
I
and,
I
and you
get it.
know what God is going to do with a thing, but when He tells you to do something, that it's a part of it.
Yep.
Right. You might say, oh, but that's not necessarily the vision that I had. He's like, yeah, but I need to work something out in you. So I won't, I'm going to use this thing to make you
Why?
the thing that makes
Why?
you uncomfortable. I'm going to
Yeah,
put you right in that so that, you will know that it's me the whole way through.
absolutely.
So I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And it's really just all about obedience, and I appreciate that he would even consider me to do um, anything,
Yeah,
for him and for the kingdom. So,
yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
moving into the thought process of sorry, brother, I don't have brain for it. Moving into the I have to cut this out. Before then, I was talking about this is a thing that happens after 42.
Still young. Still
Almost,
young. I
almost
know
40,
you.
actually.
I know you mentioned the testimony. You
Yeah,
wanted
we're
me to.
going into the testimony, but it was something before that I was
Okay.
gonna say about being on stage. Well, anyway, we can go ahead and move into the testimony. I'm sorry.
Okay. That was a very very fulfilling season. I was doing a whole lot. As you can see, at that point, the gift had grown from acting to producing, writing, directing. Now I'm doing stand-up comedy, hosting events, um, doing Gospel Zone, and that's where I met my girlfriend at the time, Larice. Now it's my wife, 13 years strong. She was coming out to Gospel Zones, and I never got a chance to meet her. And there were times where we were in the same room in the same service or function or concert, and I just never met her. And then she came to our church for a revival, and my mom saw her and was like, "That is something special about that jewel right there." I
Mm.
walked her over to me, introduced her. It was a revival. Revivals was a whole
Oh
week
yeah.
long,
Oh yeah.
and I think that week I was doing a stage play with Jay Moss, the artist, gospel artist Jay Moss.
Oh yeah.
That's my brother. And I just got back, and I was playing the keyboard that night at the conference, and my mom was called me off stage to introduce me to my now wife, and um, walked off the stage right into basically we were engaged right away. I mean,
Oh
I
wow.
knew I knew immediately because I had saw her during the service as well, and I didn't know she was looking at this chocolate brother him,
Okay. Okay.
and God just stirred up the gift is what he
Okay.
did. Stirred it up.
Yeah. That's right.
Stir up the gift. And we talked 7 days later. I said, "You my wife.
You just
You my
told her
wife."
that. Just straight
It
out.
was it. She was like, "I know. I was waiting for you to
Oh,
confirm
she
it."
said she.
7 days. 7 days. 7 days. She tells the story way better than I do. But
Okay.
for the sake of time, we met in September. We got engaged in October on my birthday. I was in a near fatal car accident in November. And then we got married in December in the hospital. The car accident was something that could have happened to anybody. Um, it was a long day. My baby brother called me and said, "Where you at, man?" And I'm like, "I'm over here at the mall." And he was like, "I need you to come and pick me up." The car that he had been driving that week, the battery kept draining every day. And what we didn't realize back then, we were young guys, so we didn't know when the battery constantly drains, even though it's a good battery, it means your alternator is going bad. So for us, it was just let's just keep on jumping the battery because this is a new battery, right? And it had stopped while he was on the highway. So when the alternator is draining, you can be driving anywhere and the power just goes down. And that's what happens. So he pulled to the side of the highway, battery's dead again. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna come pick you up. Um, we'll jump it. The mechanic lives right up the street. I'll follow you to the mechanic's house. We'll drop it off, right? And then we'll go home and pick it up the next day or whatever. I wanted to get him off that highway. So I jumped in my truck and I drove out to I-75 in Detroit and I pulled up behind him. I got out the car and anybody knows in order to jump the battery, you got to face the hoods.
Yeah.
So, I'm behind him and I jump out and I'm talking to him. I'm like, the only way I can do this is I got to wait until traffic is clear so I can drive my truck out into the highway, make a turn all the way around, and then face you on the side of the highway. I'll jump it. God knows I wish we'd have had AAA,
That.
but he also knows what he's doing.
Yes.
And I jump back in the truck and he's like, "I'll wave you down when the traffic is clear." I think that day I worked for Habitat for Humanity, so I had like some dryers and stoves in the back of my pickup truck.
Yeah.
Because the next morning I was gonna drop them off at like the the place where you can get money for like
Oh yeah. The scrapyard.
steel the scrap yard. So I had this equipment back there and I couldn't see anything. So I'm depending on him to wave me down. So I sit there, I don't put my seatbelt back on because all I'm doing is whoop, and I'm out. And he's like, "We good, we good." So I take my time, I drive out, and as soon as I get to the farthest side of the highway, simply because I couldn't see anything, I went to make my turn, but I didn't know that another pickup truck had just come off the entrance to the highway behind me. So right where we were parked, there was another entrance to the highway, and this guy jumped on. He's hitting 75, 80.
Mm.
And he didn't know that I was going to turn, of course, because you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that he was coming because I didn't see him. So at the perfect timing, I go to, and he T-bones me right in the middle of my pickup truck and just blasted me. So grateful I was in the car by myself. I flew from the driver's seat to the passenger windshield in the car, and my body flew straight ahead, and I busted my head open on the windshield.
Mm.
My head split open. I got a gash. My hair looked crazy, but I got a gash from here all the way here, and my head was just split wide open. But when my head hit the windshield, my neck snapped back, and it severed my spine. Just
Mm.
my spine exploded in my neck area here. So the kind of stuff that would take you out immediately. I'm talking about you'd be here one moment and don't even know what happened. And um, the collision knocked me out. So I wasn't aware of anything. I wasn't conscious at all. Didn't feel any pain. I didn't see the lights. Didn't hear the car. I just was there one moment. Then I woke up in the hospital. And my brother told me that he ran to my aid and they hit the truck so bad. We got pictures. I post pictures every year for the anniversary. And you can basically see through the pickup truck. They knocked the gas tank off. That truck should have exploded, if nothing else. If nothing else, it should have exploded. And God knew, as
Absolutely.
crazy as the hit was, He knew that my life was going to be spared. And just like Job, though he slayed me, yet will I trust him. You know, woke up in the hospital, Lady T, about maybe 2 days later. That's when I started to come to and just realize what was going on. And the first thing that happened was I heard the voice of the Lord. I was waking up, and the voice of the Lord say, "Don't panic. I will heal you." And I said, "Okay." That was the first time I had ever heard the voice of the Lord speak to me that clear. And then I woke up, and I'm laying there, and I got this halo on my neck, and I can't move. I don't feel my body. I don't feel temperature. I felt like it was a dream. Like I didn't feel anything. And I got this cast on my neck. My baby brother's on the right side of the bed. My fiance's on the left. And they're telling me what happened, and tears just began to flow down. I couldn't move anything. I could barely speak because my spinal cord was broken. So everything under this level of my neck was dead. I mean, just gone. It wasn't there. And the only reason why I began to cry is because that's when I realized why the Lord told me what He told me, and I just was grateful that He spared my life. They showed me the pictures of the car, and I was just like, "What? That's crazy." But I had to make up my mind immediately. I didn't have time to think about it. I had to make up my mind immediately. What kind of believer was I going to be? Was I going to be the guy that read the Word of God, that served God, loved God, believed in God, sung about Him, wrote about Him?
Yeah.
And then when tragedy strikes, I just let go of all of that.
Mm.
Or was I going to trust this God? And was I going to trust in what He spoke to me, which was, "Don't panic, I'm going to heal you"? Immediately, I was like, "It's all good, y'all. It's all good. I'm still here. I'm about to get up. I'm about to go home. God about to heal me. Say, "You're going to heal me." And I looked at my fiance. I said, "Girl, I'm about to go to therapy. I'm about to get strong. I'm about to marry you, girl." And
Ah,
they was just like, "That's
yeah.
Vinny. That's Vinny. Vinny's still here." Because the doctors thought I had brain damage because it
Yeah.
was a bad concussion.
I can imagine.
But my mom was like, "No, that's he's crazy. That's just him. That's him." And I'm in there cracking jokes, sis, and I'm praying for people, and they like, "What is up with this guy?" And
Wow.
It was because God was with me. It was
Mm.
because I felt Him with me. My gorgeous fiance was there. My beautiful family was there. I was surrounded by the people I needed to be surrounded by. And the key was the fact that I knew God before my accident. That was the key. I was able to lean on Him. The peace filled the room. We had worship music in the room all day, every day. The peace and the presence of God was with me. Um, Long days, short nights. I couldn't stay awake during the day. I couldn't sleep at night. It was just a really weird time. I had migraines. The doctors came in and said, "Hey, we started to inform you, but your son is going to be a vegetable. He won't be able to move, operate, have any level of independence. He's going to be the guy that has to drive around and use a straw to eat for the rest of his life. That's just the reality of it." And my mom said, "Thank you, but we don't receive that."
Amen.
She had to say that. She had to say the words. I think people don't understand the power that we have in the words. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And she had to stand firm in that moment and trust that the same thing God told me that was going to come to pass. She said, "Thank you so much for your report. Thank y'all for all the work y'all doing for my baby."
Mama wasn't
But we,
playing.
but we don't receive that, sir.
No. Mm-mm.
And the whole family was like, "Yeah, yeah," they had to get themselves together. And when tragedy or when catastrophic events happen to one person, they happen to their whole community.
Yes.
My whole family, my whole community was affected, but they all were praying. They were all praying. And God spoke to me in my prayer time. He said, "This is not your punishment. This is your new assignment." And I said, "Okay." I said, "All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know what this looked like, but let's go. Let's go." And it, I think sometimes, Big Sis, we have to remember what we say in the good days. There was something I said a couple of months before that accident. I said, "Lord, use me like you never used me before. Take
Yes.
full control. Do
Yeah.
whatever you got to do. I am yours."
Yeah.
And He reminded me about what I said. So
Mm.
I had to uphold the words that I spoke when tragedy finally struck. And not only did I have to uphold those words, but because the Lord had just said, "I'm going to heal you," I expected to be up really fast.
Right.
This was day one, day two, day three. So I'm like, "Man, I'll be up in 2 weeks. I'm walking out of here."
Yeah.
My confidence was there. But I also said in those days, when the accident first happened, "Lord, no matter how long it takes, I'm going to trust you. I'm
Mm.
going to serve you. I'm going to be your vessel." And it's easy to say that in the earlier days.
Yes, it is.
But what happened when year two come
Mm.
and you're not up yet? What happened when year five come and your plans still are not going forth the way that you drew them out to be? "The Lord, you said, write the vision and make it plain. I wrote it 10 years ago. What happened?" God is like, "There are sometimes you have to go off of my timing.
Mm.
And you gotta trust that I know what I'm doing." And when I took my focus off of the healing process and started to focus more on the assignment process, that's when I realized that God wanted me to get back to all my gifts from the wheelchair. Because originally I'm like, I'm waiting till He heal me. And when I get up, I'm gonna go back to writing, comedy. I'm gonna do all that, everything I did. And God said, what made you think that I wanted you to wait? I never told you that. There you go, leaning on your own understanding again, thinking you know what's best for you. Are you going to trust me like you said you were? Are you going to really let me lead? And when I went back, it humbled me all over again.
Yeah.
I think around year Man, it's been a journey. I returned back to the stage 2014. So that's 3 years out of the accident. Um, Around year 6, I said, Lord, I ain't complaining. I ain't, I ain't tripping. I ain't even gonna trip. But I got one question for you.
Right.
Why it gotta take so long? I said, Lord, I don't want you to feel like I'm losing faith because I'm not. I still trust you. You've opened so many doors. By this time, I had got back to the stage. I was directing again. I was producing again. I was directing other people's projects from the chair, and I'm seeing what he's doing. And there were two things that happened in that time of prayer. He reminded me of what he told my wife. He told my wife something in her prayer. And this is why it's important to team up with people that you're equally yoked with, people
Me.
that's going to cover you in prayer when you can't pray yourself.
Me.
It ain't just about you fine, I'm fine, let's go have a glass of wine.
Right.
You gotta know that you're teaming up with somebody that believes the way you believe and walk the way you walk. In her prayer time, the Lord told her, I'm going to take Vincent places in his wheelchair that I could never take him on his feet.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
have held on to that word and we are living it out now. And I'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to waste too much time in one area, but we are living out the prophecy that I am going to take him places in his chair that I couldn't take him on his feet. And I remembered that from day one. But year 6, I'm like, Lord, I done been some places now. You done took me some places.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me I ain't been enough places in my chair yet? He said, Vince, the reason why I told you from day one, you got to hold on to your faith is because not enough people have seen you in the wheelchair yet. You are a new representation of the lame man from the Bible. I need to build my audience, and I need more people to see you as the man that could not walk.
Mm.
First,
Yes.
some people, God can compel them off of somebody else's testimony, just their words. Just God brought me out. God said, I'm changing the way we testify.
Mm.
You're going to be the person that's going to say, God is getting ready to. Watch him do it. I'm shouting now because God is about to. Not wait until he do it and then shout. If you know I'm going to do it, show them how excited you are about the victory now.
Yeah.
So when I do it, every eyewitness is going to say, I remember when he testified. I remember when I shook his hand at that event and he couldn't squeeze my hand
Yeah.
because he didn't have the ability. I remember hugging Vince and his hug wasn't that strong. And then the next time I saw him, it was stronger. Then the next time I saw him, he was on his feet. I remember the process. Everybody that I'm coming in contact with are not just a part of my life just because of what we're doing. Y'all are witnesses to the miracle of what God is doing.
Absolutely.
And I had it humbled me so much because it reminded me that this process has nothing to do with me.
Whew.
And that is a hard pill to swallow when we say, well, God, you chose me though. Like this is me and you. God is like, no, no. This ain't a us thing.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
God said, I got it. I'm using you. I remember you said I could, and I believed you.
Right.
Hold on to your faith. If everybody else lose hope, you gotta hold on and you gotta know what I've promised because it will come to pass. I've been holding on to that, and I feel like the reason why I can speak in confidence in year 13, the same way I spoke in confidence in year 1, 2, and 3, is because it's the same God that keeps on reintroducing himself to me over and over and over again. He's showing me new revelations every year. He's giving me new found scriptures that match the healing process. He's giving me new people that's coming into my life that's believing fresh. So if I'm talking to people year 1, 2, and 3, and they fall off year 4, 5, and 6, God is replacing those people with new faith people that's believing even more than they did. And we way further down the line, you know, and I just feel like the more I live out this lifestyle, the more I realize I don't even want to get up until my assignment is done.
Mm.
I don't want to have wasted all this time and have gone through all this. And people think it's just my legs. It ain't just my legs. My whole body was affected. My whole body. I had to get help doing so much things that we do on a daily basis. It was humbling to have to receive help to get changed and get dressed. To this day, there's still a lot of things that I wish I could do that I just can't do yet on my own.
Yeah.
But the things that I can do, I'll allow God to lead me in those things. And I might be the happiest quad you ever met. I I,
I mean,
I
the
don't
joy
even know what
just
I don't even know what's in store for tomorrow. But because I serve a God that does, I'm good. I'm good. I mean it. And
I
I've never
believe
had a
it.
depressed day.
I mean, it just exudes. It exudes over you, you know, just listening to that testimony. Like I said,
Hey, hey,
okay, okay. Don't make it come through now. You know it.
they call that the quicken.
The quicken. The shana. Oh, I think
It's real.
back
The joy.
before due to some nerve damage that I experienced in my back a few years back. Uh, I could barely walk for a few years without help. And during that time, I really got into a space where I thought I would not be able to do this, what I wanted to do, this vision, this passion. And the Lord had to really speak to me on the inside and say, "You're sitting down now. I want you to listen.
Mm,
I got you in a place right now where you can hear me, where you're not
mm,
just, you know, ripping and running and trying to be all things to all people. I need you
right.
to be who you're supposed to be to me." You know, and I thought to myself, well, surely there's no way that I'm going to be able to act again or get on stage again and I can really walk. And when I heard your testimony, brother, it changed my life. It changed my life. I'm trying not to get emotional even in this moment, you know, just to
Amen.
hear the joy in your voice, just like right now, and
Yes,
to
Lord.
hear the ministry and the optimism of what God told you. Because when He gives you a word, anybody who's ever heard anything from God, whether it's audible, whether it's in their spirit,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what anybody tells them. You know, this is what God says. And it's so much stronger than what the reality looks like. It's already happened. You know, I'm just waiting for the manifestation of it. So when
Yeah.
I heard your testimony and I seen the things that you're doing, and I thought to myself, wow, if that brother can do it and that brother can do it with the attitude that he has, then I don't have an excuse. I got to get up and I got to trust God and I got to keep going. I can't listen to these negative messages that the enemy tries to put in my ears to say, you know, this is your shortcomings and the, you can't be received if you don't look like this or you can't perform this way. God will use you in a way like He's never been able to use you before because now you know that it's Him and you've
Yep.
gotten out the way.
Yep.
You know, you thought you knew you had all the answers because you know I'm so creative. I got all these great ideas. I'm a visionary, you know. And He's like, I remember you telling me it ain't your vision, it's my vision. I just let you hold on to it, you know.
Right.
And if you do
Right.
what you're supposed to do, I'll let you walk it out as well,
Wow.
you know. Because I did, I took ownership of this thing, like, you know, this is my vision, as if, you know, I conjured up these ideas when it was inspired and He dropped them in me and He connected them to the purpose. And He allowed me to have all of the makings to see this purpose through.
That's
But
right.
He didn't want that purpose to destroy me because you
Mm,
get in ego and you get in pride and you get caught up, especially in this industry. You showed me years ago what's really working in the industry, you know, what's really running the industry. And you think you're going out there just to do what you love to do, but there is an entire spiritual warfare that is, you know, being being waged
That's
against
right.
this world, and God wants
Mhm.
to do a new thing, and I believe that He is doing a new thing in the industry with people such as yourself, and um, that leads into some of the amazing projects that you have been working on, and
Mm.
some of the things that God has manifested through your life,
Yeah.
even in the wheelchair, as
Yeah.
we move into the healing process, because we
Yep.
can see it. Matter of fact, it's
Yep.
already here. We just
Amen.
walking it out,
That's
should
right.
we say. So can you tell us a little bit about the great things that God has done and what He's continuing to do?
Absolutely. I'm gonna start off with last year. Well, no, maybe 2 years ago. Maybe no, it's about 3 years now. I can't believe it's 2025. 2025 now. Okay, wow. That means around the pandemic time is when I said, okay, Lord, because 2019, I was scheduled to do two stage play productions. One was for Detroit, so I was gonna fly back and forth because I'm in Phoenix now, so I was gonna fly back and forth with Detroit. I got a team in Detroit. I got all my people. That's where my foundation is. So I can call and get people to get rehearsals done and things like that. So I was gonna produce a stage play in 2019 and in 2020 in Detroit, and then one here in Phoenix. The Phoenix one was going to be my first Phoenix production. So that was going to be the time for me to team up with some good people and introduce the work that God has placed in my hands to Phoenix. 2020 was that year. And as soon as I started to do the week I had scheduled for my first rehearsal here in Phoenix, I had just got back from Detroit. I did a table read in Detroit, bombcast. Woo! And I got back to Phoenix. And okay, now it's time to focus on the Phoenix production for a couple of months because these are people I haven't worked with before. The pandemic shut it down. The week of our first rehearsal, the pandemic shut down the production. And I never did that production in Phoenix. I never did that production in Detroit. Those are scripts that as the pandemic we went through the pandemic, I said, Lord, maybe it's time for me to transition into film.
Yeah,
I don't know if theater is going to return back to the place where it once was.
yeah,
I don't know if they're going to allow us to be back. At that time, everything was unpredictable. And we had no idea what COVID was going to do. We didn't know if the smoke would settle and we would go back to life as usual. We know now,
yeah,
just like the flu or just like anything new, eventually you're able to get back and you're able to build the antibodies against it and all those different things. But that was the time where things shut down, and immediately I was like, it's time to go into film. And just like I learned stage plays by being in stage plays, I need to learn film by being in film. I had never done a film before. I had shot a couple of small things. Gospel Zone, we recorded all stuff, sketches and all. So I
yeah.
had that experience around the end of 2021. I started to put myself out there to audition for projects. I did one project here in Phoenix, and the producer, which one of my closest friends now to this day, he's like, "You need an agent." I was like, "Bro, this is my first film, bro. Calm down. Let me get used to this. Let me." He was like, "No, listen to me. You need an agent." And this is where I'm going to take him places in his feet. I mean, his chair that I couldn't take him on his feet came from.
Mm,
Not only did he know agencies, he sent me the number to one of the biggest agents in Hollywood that just so happened to only service disabled actors.
wow,
They only did actors with disabilities.
wow.
And I called her and she was like, "Hello?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm a friend of the producer Woody Whoop, and he told me to give you a call and I'm looking for an agent. I'm a disabled actor." She was like, "Okay. Sure. Send me over this and this and this and my email address, and I'll get back to you." It's just a regular call, nothing special. And my stuff was ready. This is why we can't wait on the connection or the person opportunity. Our stuff got to be ready.
Yeah.
The industry only plays with people that they know is bookable. And the only way to show them that you're bookable is to show them, I understand y'all standards. I understand y'all
Yeah.
quality. And
Operating,
I say it
yeah,
again.
operating in excellence.
Excellence, excellence. Even from my position in the chair, I had only did the first film project, and this is how you know God was working. Not only did He send me to that agent, but I was recording. We was planning on doing his a pilot. We are going to shoot a pilot called Beans. It's on YouTube now. I'll share it with you.
Okay.
And me and him was just gaining a relationship. We were talking, and he saw value in me throughout that process. By the end of it, he said, "I want you to direct the pilot." I'm like, bro, really? He's like, I want you to. He's like, I can tell. He had watched he watched some stage plays I had. Why? I see how you work. I see how you. I want you to direct. So my first film project that I'm doing, which was a pilot episode for a potential TV series, I went from auditioning. They fell in love with me, connected with the creator, and then he asked me to direct it. Just putting myself in position to learn film. That's all I
Yeah.
was doing.
Yeah.
But opportunities came because the Lord had gave me the spirit of excellence and a great work ethic. Became close friends with this guy, called the agent, sent over my stuff. She was like, "Oh, we'll get back to you in about 2 weeks. We got a lot going on." I was like, "Okay." 3 days, maybe two. Hey, Vincent, thank you for sending over your stuff. We love your work. We love your quality. We want to jump on a Zoom call with you. Can you get on the Zoom call next week? Sure. Hop on a Zoom call. We just gonna come out and say it. We want to sign you.
Nice.
There ain't nothing to talk about. What do you need to know from us? What do you need from us? And I said, wow. Well, I heard that you guys are the real deal. I said, I am a believer. I'm a Christian. There's certain roles that I'm not playing. There's certain things I'm not saying. And I'm letting you know now so that you don't be mad at me later. Because
Yeah.
there will be opportunities going to come. I'm going to turn them down. I'm just letting you know I don't play with my standards. This. And they were like, good, we respect it. Signed that contract. A year later, started doing commercials. I did a TV commercial for a car dealership. You need an agent in Phoenix. Same situation. Somebody plugged me to an agent in Phoenix, signed me right away. Um, from there, I recently just signed on with the agency in New Mexico and just signed on with a management company in LA as well. God has just started to open up all these doors. But what he reminded me was that none of these people were the source. They were resources that God created. He was the source. And that's what keeps me grounded. I want to say over the past couple of years, I've done about 15 projects maybe, and it's growing. I'm learning. I entered the Disability Film Challenge last year,
Okay.
which was the same thing. I'm going to take him places in his chair. I couldn't take him on his feet. I was invited to join a panel for ASU film students, and they were looking for people in the industry that were disabled. They
Mhm.
had a disabled producer on the panel, they had a disabled writer, and then there was me. They found me on social media or something like that. And well, this guy's a wheelchair actor. Like, would you be willing to come onto the panel and talk to the students? I'm like, absolutely. Jumped on a panel, talked to about 200 students with those other disabled creatives. Now, I hadn't been in the game as long as them and knew as much as film as they did, but I did share my perspective from the actor side. One of the panel members is like, you fire. You need to join the Disability Film Challenge. I was like, what is that? He said, I'm the founder of the Disability Film Challenge. And we give disabled actors, writers, producers the opportunity to create a 5-minute movie in 5 days. And you got to turn that in and you submit it. and you could possibly come out to LA for our award show. I'm like, disability film challenge. You talking about my current living situation with my career mixed together? I said, let's do it. Um, Signed up for the challenge. They had a theme. They had all these rules that you had to follow. Found a little team here in Phoenix, shot the movie, sent it in. Lo and behold, I get nominated Best Actor. So flew out to LA last year, went to Sony Picture Studios. I'd never been on a studio set in my life. Went to Sony Picture Studios for the nomination ceremony. I didn't win Best Actor, but I met so many people in that arena that now play such a huge role in pushing my scripts and my stories forward.
Absolutely.
I was so grateful to be in there, and with it being the disabled film community, it was much more humbling. The hunger is different, the drive is different, the appreciation and respect for one another is different. It wasn't me being introduced to the industry with a whole bunch of industry sharks and producers looking to take advantage of people.
Yeah.
It was the perfect situation for me to be introduced to all these other filmmakers. I co-wrote my short film, produced it with my wife, starred in it, and it was great. And now that film that was a part of the Disability Film Challenge, only because I was nominated Best Actor, and it was a finalist, the Disability Film Challenge, uh, they submitted my film to other film festivals on my behalf. So now we're going back to LA next week for the Holly Shorts Film Festival at the Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard. It's one of the biggest film festivals in Hollywood. Never heard of it before, but because God constantly put me in those positions to be seen, to be heard, to collaborate, and stepping out there on faith, not waiting on getting up out the chair, working from my current situation. There's been a drive to make God proud with what he told me he was going to do.
Yes, my brother.
I don't,
Ooh,
when I was younger, I had the desire to be a part of the industry for selfish reasons, but my heart was always to point people back to the cross.
yeah.
That was always my intention. Even though I was much more immature then, I really get it now. I know that this is an infiltration season. And that means God is sending his chosen ones into territories where
Absolutely.
he's not normally welcomed so
Absolutely.
that we can be the mouthpiece and the
Absolutely.
representations for the kingdom.
Yes.
And the doors and the rooms that are open. I mean, I'm working on several projects. I'm writing multiple projects. I just got accepted into a TV series script writing and pitching program. I'm talking about just knowing what to do with the scripts after you're done is one of the biggest challenges for a writer. And God is giving me the resources and he's opening the doors and he's allowing me to go into these rooms and he's allowing me to have a team now, 3 agents, a manager that loves the work. And for me to be able to say, Lord, I know this is all because you told me that you were going to take me places in my chair that you couldn't take me on my feet. And you told me that I wasn't up because not enough people had seen me as a lame man yet. And I never imagined, sis, that this would be the route he would choose to take me in the chair just so that he can be glorified through this one situation. There are
Absolutely.
millions of us that are chosen to step into arenas and do God's work. But for me to be just one of the ones that he chose, and that it might look like an affliction. It might, oh, Vince, man, you gonna walk one day. Y'all don't even understand. The only reason why I'm not up is because God got work. And he told me, he said, I'm gonna use your talent to get you in the room,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna use your wheelchair to get their attention.
Woo. Wow. Ooh, Jesus.
We got to stop looking at our current setbacks.
Mm,
Our we got to let go of I wanted this by this age and I had this plan and I we have to start prioritizing. First of all, we got to find out what God wants for us in this season
yeah.
and just prioritize that. Everything else is an alignment. It takes a long time for our gifts and our desires and our wants to match
Yes.
God's plan.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not that He doesn't have it for you, there's just a time and a season for all things. And there's gonna come a time where what we desire matches what He desires for us.
Yes.
But until then, we got to allow Him to work things out of us. We got to allow Him to take us on these detours. I told my wife a few weeks ago, we were talking about how most people, God has given them the answer, but it didn't come in the form that they wanted,
Right.
almost like a vehicle.
Yeah.
So the analogy that God gave me is there's a car sitting out front of your house on the street. That's the car that God wants you to get in to take you to the next destination. The only problem is we spend so much time fussing about the car because this ain't the vehicle I wanted.
Yeah.
It's too small. It's the wrong color. It ain't got four-wheel drive. This is an electric car. I want all gas. I want a bigger engine. I want, and God is like, this ain't even the real car.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Get your butt in the car and let me take you to the dealership so I can get you what you really want. But you got to drive this to get there.
Yeah.
And
And you got to
I
be
look at the
patient
wood.
with the process.
It's the process, and everything is crazy because the we take more time not getting in the car, complaining about the car, than we do just taking the ride.
Ooh.
It's just a ride, and the ride is set up to get you to this destination and that destination and that, and all the destinations are things waiting for you that you desire, but you got to get in the undesirable car first because that's the vehicle that He chose to get you there. We just got to get in the car. And it takes nowhere near the amount of time to get where you want to be. We just gotta humble ourselves and say, this ain't the job I wanted, but I'm gonna get in the car. This ain't the house I desire, but I'm gonna get in the car.
Yeah.
The marriage is going through, is struggling. I would rather be doing this as a career. I don't have time. I'm running out of time. Just get in the car and let Him get you to the destination where you really want to be. We spend so much time standing on that curve, just looking at it. The wheels ain't even right on the. Just get in the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easier said than done. But when you look at it that way, it just kind of helps wake up the humility. It helps check us because we're not really where we think we are.
Yeah.
We think we arrived. We think we got it. We think we get it. I get it, Lord. No, no, you don't. Because you still wasting time looking at a vehicle that you don't want to get in because of all these reasons that ain't got nothing to do with the final destination.
Yeah.
Ain't got nothing to do with it. Those are selfish reasons. I don't want to work that job. I don't want to go there. I don't want to teach. I don't want to preach. I don't want to minister. I don't want to counsel people. Just get in the car
I
and
have a
let
saying that
Him
I
get
like
you
to
there.
use. It's en route. You know, it's en route when it comes to those blessings or those destinations that God has already put in you and said, this is where I'm taking you, but you don't know how you're going to get there, or you don't know how He's going to get something to you. I like to say, well, it's en route. God knows what that looks like. And he's working it. He's working it out. And I heard you say something about your desires lining up with God's desires. And sometimes it takes us a long time for us to do that, to where we can get our own stuff out of the way. And we can say, hey, that's not the way that I'm supposed to go, that I'm going to be still. And I'm going to get in His face, and I'm going to hear Him and listen and say, okay, what do you want me to do? And if this
Yeah,
door closes, then that door closes. And if this
absolutely.
door opens, then I'm going to be here and willing to walk through it. And one thing that I noticed in your story,
Mm,
you talked about these moments where it's like you cast your net, right, for the fish, in the store with Peter, and you just went for it. You tried it.
yep.
And I know you said you wanted to get into film and you didn't have any background or any knowledge. Were you intimidated in any way about the whole process? That's awesome.
I think my confidence had always been in, I know some of this stuff.
Yeah,
You
it,
know,
it was.
the stuff that I don't know, I'm willing to sit under the right people to learn it. I was not in a rush to write film, to direct film, to produce film. But the more I put myself out there to just learn,
Yeah.
they saw value in me.
Mm.
I was just in the right spot and I was in the right position. And they, well, Vince, what do you think about this? Yeah, okay. Technically, if you shoot from that angle, I think it'll show more. So, I mean, I personally, I'm just saying, I would probably come around, then I would raise the camera up, and then boom, and this dude know what he's talking about. Well, Vince, what do you think about this? I think that might be if you. I respect that, man. I'm about to send you a script. Read that. And tell me what you think about that. Those opportunities kept happening. I was going from just being this guy of auditioning for a movie that was fully casted. Next thing you know, they wrote a role for me, created a role, and then they upgraded the role. Forget that. You can be this guy. Yeah, this is bigger. We can use that wheelchair. We're gonna get you out there and you're gonna shake it up. You can be in the middle of everything. You're gonna be the one that's gonna fuse this gang to this group and this group to that group, and you can be the middleman. Next thing you know, Vince, what do you think about this? Well, since you asked, and those opportunities are opportunities that we don't have to go after. God is saying, you put yourself in position to learn, be
Yeah.
humble, and to grow. And while you're doing that, they're watching you. So you don't have to go out there thinking, well, when is the opportunity gonna come?
Yeah.
Don't even look for it. Because I have a writing mentor. Jason Gonzalez has been writing in the industry for over 25 years, worked on many shows, Desperate Housewives, a lot of those really, really um,
Yeah, man.
creative shows. He told me, he said, I was working as an assistant for the writing room for about 4 or 5 years. Everything I did in excellence.
Absolutely.
Everything. He
Absolutely.
didn't even get a chance to say, well, what do you think about this, Jay? He didn't get that kind of opportunity, but they watched everything he did. He organized the juices and snacks so well that
Nice.
one of the writers said, if you work in excellence that good with that job, I can only imagine how great you're going to be when you get the job that you really want.
Mm.
You got any writing samples? Do you write anything? He was like,
Matter of fact,
yes, sir, I do. As a matter of fact, I do.
wow.
Man, and it's it's almost like it's automatically going to happen.
Yeah.
But there's so many people, sis, that just try to create their own
Yeah.
opportunities, and they're in the room and they're focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I had a buddy. We got invited to be on a film set, a big film set out here is a Western film set, and they invited us out, me and my buddy, and the producer said, "Hey guys, this meeting is set up just for relationship. This is not a pitch meeting.
Yeah.
I want you to meet the people that can possibly get your work out there. That's it. I want them to know you. I want you to know them." We get out to the set. The first thing my buddy does is pull out scripts, start passing them out. Hey, Hey man, this is what I'm working on. This is what I got. And I said, man, why'd you do that, man? What you gonna do that for? He said, I thought this might be the only opportunity I would get. I had to take my chance. I said, brother, the man that got us in the room told us what to do.
Mm. Mm. What? Oh, that's loaded.
I said, the man that opened the door and say, come on in, he told us exactly what to do. You know why? Because he's already been there. These are his people. How you gonna go in there thinking of talking about this is my only opportunity? The man said this is a relationship meeting. The industry is all about relationships.
Mm.
I learned from my buddy's mistakes. You know why? We left that meeting and that producer called me and said, because of your buddy's way of pitching his project in a meeting that was not about pitching,
Yeah,
he turned them all off.
yeah.
And 2 weeks later, I got a personal call from one of the producers and they said, I met you on that set. There's something about you. You're right, don't you? I said, yes. He said, I got a book I've been holding on to for 10 years. And I'm trying to get this story turned into a series. You want to take a shot at it? As a matter of fact, I do.
Mm.
I had to I had to be humble and patient enough to let the man that opened the door lead the way. Why am I desperate talking about this is the only opportunity? It absolutely is not the only opportunity if I use this opportunity to create the authentic relationships like he said. We are moving too desperate when we don't have to.
Right.
And being desperate is a turn off.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of desperate people that say, I just want my stuff to be seen. I just want to be heard. I just want to just do the work.
yeah.
Just do the work. Build the authentic relationships. And unfortunately, he thought it was the only opportunity, but he burnt bridges that day.
Mm.
And I said, I will never allow somebody that trusts me enough to bring me in the room
Yeah.
to step on their toes, thinking that this is my only opportunity. How could it be my only opportunity? It's all about relationships. And
Yeah.
to this day, I have several scripts that I'm working on, and God is not just giving me what to write, but He's giving me where to send it when I'm done. That's about relationships. That ain't got nothing to do with my gift.
All the
Nothing. It's a lot of gifted people out here writing and producing and want to be seen, but
yeah.
they don't have the chance to get it in the right hands because they haven't developed the relationships yet. And they don't know the who, they don't know the how. And I'm just like, Lord, just show me. I'm not panicking, I'm not tripping.
Yeah.
You changed Abraham's purpose at 75, and then he had a baby till he was 99.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we're not living that long no more.
Right.
But if I compare 75 to my 39, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Just gotta take my time and let him lead the way. And there's a difference between opportunity and favor.
Absolutely.
We have to learn when it's favor from God, that's a priority. God is undefeated. He don't lose and he don't misjudge. He don't mismatch. He
Yeah.
understands everything. So when he opens the door, that's automatic. But when opportunity comes from man, I would rather have God's favor than have a man do me a favor.
Oh. Oh. I'm gonna put that in the
Two,
Rolodex. Say that
two,
again.
I would rather have God's favor than
Mm.
to have a man do me a favor.
Do me a favor.
Same word, two totally different purposes. Totally different purposes. So we just as believers, if I can encourage anybody, I would say
Yeah.
wait on the Lord. Just like the scriptures say, be of good courage. But there's also an instruction that says, endure as a good soldier. Don't just endure. Don't just go through the process. Endure as a good soldier. Be humble. When you need help, be humble enough to accept the help. It's temporary. It's temporary. But get the help that you need. Let people assist you and be wise enough to just work in excellence. They're watching you. They're watching you. It don't look like it. It don't feel like it. They're always watching. God is going to open the door when it's
Uh,
right.
I
I got
understand.
one. I got one more small thing to say, and I'm done. I promise. One small thing. God revealed something to me about my good friend Joseph in the Bible. I love Joseph's
Hmm.
journey,
Yeah.
as tough as it was for him to be betrayed and sold by his brothers, and then for him to go from being sold as a slave to working for Potiphar. So he went down, then he went up.
Yeah.
Then he was tricked by Potiphar's wife and he went to prison, went back down. And then he went from prison to telling the dream to Pharaoh and he went right back up.
Yeah.
It's the life comes with blessings and challenges.
Yeah.
You're never going to just always have blessings and you're never going to always just have challenges. Our job is to balance out and trust God through both. But one thing I remember, Joseph, when he told his brothers about the dream, not only was he immature, but he was a little braggadocious.
Yeah. He was feeling it a little bit.
Man, y'all was gonna bow down, boy. I got
I,
my little coat. Y'all gonna bow down to me, boy. And it wasn't that he was trying to be. He was young.
yeah.
The gifting was there, but he was young.
Right.
The difference between his vocabulary between that season and the season where Pharaoh said, I heard you was in prison telling people their dreams. I heard you have the gift. He said, not me.
Mm.
It's my God that gives me the gift. That's a different way of saying that.
Yeah.
So you go from, man, I had this dream, cuz y'all gonna bow down to your boy.
Wait, hear this.
Y'all gonna bow down to your boy. And Pharaoh said, I heard you got this gift. And he said, it's not I.
Mm.
It's not I, but it's the God that I serve. There was so much that God pulled out of him in those 13 years of challenges and trials.
Mm.
Just for God to put him in the highest position. You couldn't eat during the drought unless you went through this man.
Oh yeah.
Pharaoh made him his number one. So that tells me there are positions and there are opportunities and there are titles that God has stored up for us that we can't get until we can fully manage it.
Mm.
He don't just give you what you want. He don't just give you the desires of your heart. He gives you what you can manage.
Mm.
And it's supposed to what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to be growing and maturing throughout the way so that everything we desire we can have.
Yeah.
But how is he going to give you a 3,000 square foot house and you can't manage a 1,000 square foot apartment?
Exactly.
And I look at Joseph and I say, not only did God use him to save his whole generation and humbled him, but God also worked things out of him so that by the time he was 30 and he was running things for Pharaoh, he was wise enough, he was smart enough, he was humble enough to give God the glory and not take it for himself. His vocabulary changed. He could
What
have went up in there to Pharaoh and said, man, yeah, I can tell you the dream. I got the gift. Yep, I helped him in the prison. I talked to him. I told him what was going to happen. What's up? I got you. Not I.
what I also notice about that story is how it says he recognized his brothers, but they didn't recognize him. He had become something completely different from what
Yep.
they thought they knew or what they was used to.
That's good.
You know,
That's good.
you
That's
know,
good.
and he knew exactly who they was when he saw them. They didn't
That's
know
good.
until he revealed himself, and then they remembered the dream. You know,
Yep.
they had bowed down. Brother Vince, I am just overjoyed with the interview. It's more than I could imagine. I definitely want to have another opportunity in the future to talk to you. But before we close out, uh, I'm listening to a consistent theme throughout your life of how God was giving you opportunities as a young age to do well with whatever was in your hands at that time
Yeah.
and to operate in excellence. And that was building your knowledge up until the point where we are today, leading into the blessings that He's giving you. What would you say to encourage a person that is discovering their purpose and wants to be the best at what they're doing and they're trying to really connect and hear from God just to be able to start where they are right now?
The first thing I would want to say to you, brother, sister, is that you no longer have to ask the Lord, what is my purpose? You no longer have to be confused about, I don't know what my purpose is. If you are a believer, if you are a son or daughter of Christ, we all have the same one purpose, and that is to point people to the cross, win souls by the work that we do. The question is not about your purpose. The question is about, what are my assignments? We got the same purpose,
Mm,
but different assignments. I found my assignment through my gifts. My assignment is to write, direct, produce stories that will compel the spirit to come to Christ. Your assignment can be totally different from me. Seek God about your assignment. I want to encourage you to look up and study fasting.
mm,
Fasting has been, man, such a great uh, tool. It's been such a great practice for my life. When I fast, I'm not just pushing away the plate. I'm not just going away from food. I'm replacing idle time from social media, TV, unnecessary things that just take up time scrolling on Facebook and social media. I'm replacing that time with Christ, time with the Lord. And that can start off with just uh, reading some of the devotionals off of the Bible app per day, spending time with worship music. This time allows me to hear from Christ. And I don't just spend time with Him, but I'm asking Him for specific things. Lord, lead me and guide me in my career. Lord, show me what to do with this business idea. Lord, show me how to be a better husband for my wife. Show me how to focus more on spending quality, consistent time with you. He speaks to me so clearly in times of fasting. And that's because fasting is not for God, it's for us.
mm,
He's right there. But pushing away other things allow us to replace those things with time with Him. And the more time you spend with Him, the more answers you'll get, the more revelations, and the more peace you'll have in your life. I encourage you to find a church home, a community of people that can hold you accountable. Find accountable brothers and sisters. The Word of God says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of our testimony. But the Word of God also says, confess your sins one to one another, that you may pray for each other, and that you may be healed. For the effectual, fervent prayer of the righteous man availeth much. That makes me start at the end of the scripture. That means I need to surround myself with righteous people, because the effective, fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much. So I try to find a righteous community that I can lean on and that I can grow with and hold accountability to, so we can pray for each other. If
mm.
you're married, know that your spouse is the number one partner that you vowed to, that God gave you. It's not your enemy. And I want to encourage you that if your house is not in order, you're going to have a hard time being successful with anything you do.
That's good.
The word of God tells us to put home, cleave to your husband and your wife. It even tells us to put ministry as a secondary priority. Your spouse is number one. That's why everybody ain't ready for marriage. When you get married, you put your home and your spouse first.
Mm.
That way you can move together as one. And your spouse, you wonder why your spouse don't acknowledge what you're doing or they don't support because you're putting your ministry and your work over your marriage. Put your home first, and the order of everything else will follow through. And last but not least, just trust the process. Trust the process. I've been in a wheelchair for 13 years.
Mm.
I don't regret not one thing that's happened in my life because I'm choosing to follow God. I make the decision every day I wake up. Lord, I choose you. I choose to trust you. I choose to follow you. It's a daily decision.
Yeah.
It's a daily decision. It's not, oh, I got baptized and now everything's supposed to line up. You got to make the choice to choose God every single day. He'll give you strength to endure. That's it.
That's good. Thank you so much, Brother Vince. If they want to check you out on social media, where do they check you out? What are your tags? Where are some of your
I'm
go
really simple. I don't like them nicknames. I don't like them numbers. I'm simple. I want you to find me. Vincent Rutley on TikTok, Vincent Rutley on Instagram, Vincent Rutley on Facebook. You're gonna find most of my posts when it comes to my career and the things that God is doing on my Instagram page, as well as my Facebook page. But yep, just follow me there and let's stay connected and let's watch God move. You want to collaborate? You want to want me to come on your podcast and just talk about some different things, you can follow me on those social medias, inbox me or hit me up on my email, vrutpro@gmail.com. vrutpro@gmail.com. Let's work.
And lastly, I know I've had a few questions for you. Is there anything that God has laid on your heart that you want to say before we cut out?
I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
This is our first time having a face-to-face interaction, and you a natural.
Oh,
You a natural. I can see why God chose you to do this. And
I appreciate
I want to encourage you to just keep doing it. Please, we need this. We need you. And just like God has chosen me to infiltrate the film industry, you're also chosen to infiltrate the airwaves as well. This is the kind of content that we need.
it.
This right here, and you call to it. You're not on here just throwing things together and you do this. And I would love to see you even continue to do this until the opportunities open up for live. I can see you doing a lot more live segments as well, collaborating and getting pulled out in that microphone in your hand. I can see you on red carpets and interviewing the artists and the actors, and I can see you being the one that connects the believers to the examples. I feel like God has chose you to be the one. You're gonna have to know some people. You're gonna have to be in some rooms. You're gonna have to be okay with being confident enough to put yourself out there
Ooh,
because nobody knows the gifting that God has placed in you
ooh,
like you do. That's a
Jesus.
hard thing to do because it feels like self glorification if you're not humble enough,
Mm-hmm,
and it kind of feels like, oh, I'm losing my humility. But
mm-hmm.
it's really the opposite. The trick of the enemy is he wants us to be quiet and not necessarily talk about who we are and what we do. But if they ask, you got to be the one to, well, this is what I'm working on. This is what I do. And the only reason they're going to ask is because God is going to open doors and place you in those rooms. But be confident that if I'm in the room, I belong in this room. I'm in this room for a reason. And I don't got to connect with everybody in here. but Lord, show me who. I'm in the room for a reason. I belong in this room, and they ain't the only one that's valuable. The Lord has blessed you with some value that they gonna need. We need you.
You know, came on here and made me cry.
We need you, sis. We need you. We need your gift. We need your creativity to flow and ask the questions that everybody else can't ask. And it starts with the relationships. It does. And your heart is into it. It's a beautiful thing to see. It really is. You know, you're my girl now.
I know it's right.
Okay. I don't know if you knew.
Oh
And
yeah, oh yeah. I
yeah,
the spirit, you know, iron sharpens iron. Try the spirit by the spirit. And I already know you are definitely uh part of the big plan, you know, that
amen.
God has for his people in this time. He
Amen.
actually showed me some things that he's going to be doing with the industry about maybe 10 years ago. And it was so overwhelming. It was so overwhelming. And I thought to myself, well, God, you know, it was almost like Moses going to see Pharaoh and say, let my people go. And first thing he said was, you know, I can't talk and I can't do it. Was everything that he had yeah. Yeah, and I was actually reading it the other day and was just getting more into it. Moses just kept coming with rebuttal. The point was, God was like, "Well, all right then," you know. He said, God got a little vexed with Moses. It was like, you know, shake it up. Come on. If I told you
Yep.
so, then I'm gonna get you there. But go ahead and take Aaron with you. You know, if this is what you need. You know,
Absolutely.
and just
Absolutely.
that vision to say, well, you know, God, this is big. You know, this is big what you got to do with the industry, you know,
Yep.
and how can, you know, I in this space where yet right now he's like, it's not you, it's me,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm gonna do it through you and I'm gonna do it through people like you.
Mhm.
And I just stopped worrying about the how because it took a long time, like I said before, just being able to come and put yourself out in a space that you can be vulnerable, you
Yeah.
know, there was something that he wants to do with that.
Right.
No, you're not. I wasn't necessarily chasing it, but it's part of the big picture, right?
Absolutely.
Connecting me with people such as yourself, where I listen to your story and I listen to how bold you been along the process and how God has wrote your story. You know, you started a long time ago, and then seeing where you are now, those moments and those church plays really built something inside of you
Yeah.
that when you're able to walk in those rooms now, you may have thought that, hey, you know, I don't know much, but you knew a lot that you were able to impart into people who were already in position. And I'm like, hey, this guy right here, you know, he knows his stuff, you know, we
Yeah.
need him on our team, you know. So just listening to that and being encouraged by that and uh, even uh, forming this relationship that we have through the group that we're in, UCIC, put that out there, uh,
Let's go.
led by TC Starling, a great place for creatives,
Yeah.
actors, writers, you know, in any way of the industry who love God and want to be a part of the move that God is having in this end time. You know,
Wonderful
check it
community.
out. Check it out, you know. So again, I want to say thank you, Brother Vince. Thank you for those kind words of encouragement. You know, I really appreciate that. And I trust that that came from God through you because when
Yeah.
I heard it directly from God. So thank you for being a vessel for Him. And thank you for being a
Absolutely.
part of this show. So I'm gonna say good night, but not goodbye. And until next time, thank you guys for joining us on Tiara to You. And check out our brother Vincent Rutley. Bye bye.